In today's episode, we are going to be talking about how to start landing high kicks, but we're not just going to look at one element, we're going to touch on many. How do you develop the leg strength to get that foot way up there? How do we increase flexibility? What are the best combos, the best ways to land instead of just standing here and throwing your kick and hoping they don't have their hands up? There's so many elements and we are going to cover all of them. Thanks to everybody out there who's joining me today for this super important episode. So many of us want to land head kicks, but it can't just always float it up and make it actually land as simple or as easy as we want it to. Before we get to all that, a quick word from the sponsor of this episode, Bioptimizers, and their Massime product. Look at, if you're having trouble as you age, maintaining muscle and finding more fat is hanging around the midsection, it could very likely be because as we get older, our bodies naturally produce fewer digestive enzymes, making it harder to break down protein and build muscle. This seems so common for so many people as they start getting into their late 40s and 50s that I run into at the gym. And that's why Masszymes has nailed it by creating the most potent digestive enzyme formula ever. Masszymes increases amino acid absorption by an amazing 1,200%. And by optimizing protein digestion, Masszymes helps you retain and gain muscle. Do not let age dictate your physique. So many people get that idea, oh, I'm past my 20s and it's all downhill from here. No, I'm turning 40 in just a matter of months, and I am planning on maintaining this physique through all of my 40s and into my 50s. And Bioptimizers has the perfect offer for Masszymes because for 365 days, they have a full refund, no questions asked, money back guarantee on this product. You can hit the link down below, head over to bioptimizers.com/Gabriel and use that promo code Gabriel10 to save 10%. So talking about landing high kicks, we're gonna touch on the back leg, the front leg, and I've done episodes before where we talk about individual aspects of trying to get the foot up to head level, but never one that's complete, never one that covers every aspect. So the very first thing that so many people struggle with, they think, is their ability to stretch. They're like, oh yeah, I can't touch my toes, therefore I can't throw a high kick. And more often than not, when I get people who think that in front of me, I'm doing a private lesson, it's not that, it's that their technique is completely off, or they don't have the muscles they think they need to actually execute the head kick. So let's start first and let's go through what are 2 minutes of drilling that we can do to build the muscles. Then we'll do stretching, then we'll touch on your technique, and then we will go, what are the best ways to actually land this high kick in terms of setups. So very first thing, if you are struggling and you're going, I just don't have the muscles I need, super easy. You can just grab a chair, grab a wall, whatever. Get your leg up to the round kick position. Make sure the line between your hip and your knee is direct and straight to whatever the target is. So I'm gonna imagine my target's over there. I make that line and I just pulse up and down. You can do this 50 times per leg. If this is easy, you find, no problem, I can do this. But make sure at the same time as you do this, you are challenging the stretch. Like I'm getting up really high there, so I feel a little stretch. But if that is still easy, then I can go leg extension. And I'm gonna feel everything in there just light up. Now, well, that's not a muscle that we overactively need. It's not like we're, sliding forward, going bang, 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 doing that like karate. It still is important to be able to lift that leg up and engage those muscles. So I would suggest 50 on one side, 50 on the other, and then finish with a static hold where you again work the stretch, you go higher and higher and higher, 30 seconds each. Do that very simply 3 times a week, and those muscles that you need there are gonna start building. But you still might be feeling like, when I throw my round kicks, I just can't open my hips up enough, the groin feels tight. I don't think you need to worry about your hamstrings for this stretch or for this kick at all. So let's touch on a couple of my favorites. A couple of my favorite stretches which I think will help you the most. Number 1, getting yourself a chair where you can prop your leg up and you can practice transitioning back and forward. You probably want to put some sort of towel on the edge of the chair and you go from your round kick position on extension to your front kick. This is really gonna help open up the groin down through here, your hip flexor. You'll be able to really dial in on, oh, what feels tight? What hurts me? And then from there, if you start to be able to flow from one to the other, no problem, with a good pivot, mind you, then you can go, okay, I can move on to the head kick. But otherwise, we need to stretch a couple things out. So one of the first ones that I love to do, a lot of people don't like doing big splits. They're like, oh, it hurts too much. So alternative, get down to here, put your forearms or your elbows on the inside of your thighs and drive apart as far as you can. You just sit there and you just push those legs wide apart in probably about 30 seconds. Then you want a good 30 seconds on your stretches to really let everything sink in. Once you do that, and you're going, okay, I'm ready to move on, then we're gonna go to this position, very similar, but now we're pushing backwards. And from here, I want you to pull one heel into your glute and one leg extends. Again, push back, and then windshield wiper over to the other side. And you can kind of shift back and forth, and we're a little more active here as opposed to just a static hold, and I really like that. I think those two there will really help you. I've worked with people before who struggled on their stretches, and when they do that one, it seems like the improvement is dramatic. Now from there, we're going, okay, we can get the muscle engagement that we need. We have the flexibility, which we need, and mind you, you don't need to be able to shoot out to here to throw a high kick. If you're kind of like this, that's plenty high enough. Look at the space between my feet, and then when I throw my high kick, look at the space between my feet. It's pretty similar. So as long as you're not doing your stretching like this, like, oh, that's as far as I can go, you're already set in that aspect. So now it's technique. What are you doing incorrectly in your round kick that is stopping you from floating that leg right up? It's usually one of three things. Number one, you're not pivoting. You're not pivoting enough. You may think, oh, this foot's turning a little bit, but watch my body on a full round kick done correctly. That foot turns and it allows me to float my leg up there. As soon as I don't pivot, or I pivot very minimally, watch what happens. I can't get the rotation. I can't get this hip far enough in front because I'm restricted by the fact this foot is not turning. Once I start turning, this hip can go whoop, all the way in front. So make sure you have your pivot down. Pivots are easy to practice. Grab something, one foot on the floor, and just practice disconnecting your heel and twist. Your heel can reconnect if you want. Twist, twist, twist. That's why that drill we were doing before with your foot up on the chair and turning from the round kick to the front kick is so important. You get to practice your pivots. The next issue, which many people have, is their shoulders do not follow their hips. If your hips move, your shoulders should move. But so many people, when I work with them on their high kicks, they go like this. So they go to throw their kick, but they don't rotate. And it makes it, I mean, when you see it from the side, it feels awful. Once I go here, it floats up. Without that, I can't do it. So the body stays connected. Midsection and the upper shoulders, they move together. That's all you need. That will really help you dial everything in. The final piece which I really want you to focus on is what are our arms doing? So many times we're taught hands at your head, hands at your head. Don't drop them, don't drop them. And then I see people try to kick. And it's like, oh, the hands out of position just look so awkward and make things so difficult. At the same time though, we don't want our hands flailing out, which some people do as well. I see their arms just completely move out of place. And you know, if this hand's out here, and I'm trying to keep my head upright, it's dragging me to a certain extent this direction. This is extra weight. So what's the motion that we want? Make sure one arm swings down, the arm that matches the kicking leg swings down. Most of us know that. What most of people don't do right is this arm. They don't have it finish right here. If you want to do a swing and have your hand here at the end, okay, that's fine. I can get behind that. If you want to just leave your hand here, that's fine too. But going like this and having your arm out there seems to make everybody struggle. Once I correct those three things, I'd say 90% of the time I can take somebody who says, I can't high kick. I can be holding the pads and they're busting out high kicks. No problem. So what is the final stage now? You have the muscles down that are required for a high kick. You have the flexibility. You have the technique. Now, I'm gonna pull and bob here. How do I actually land my high kick? What are my setups? What is gonna work best? Because as I said when we did our intro, if I just walk up and I go, okay, I'm sparring, and the guy blocks it, I'm like, man, I never land my high kicks. People are landing on me, but I never land on them. Well, what can we do? Let's touch on five things here. We're not gonna go on like, okay, these are all the possible set combos. I'll show you a couple combos that in general work, a couple of little tricks, and I think that should be enough. So in general, a single kick, while it can be effective, for a beginner, it's not gonna be the easiest way to land. We want to give a distraction. So what is my very first way? One of the best to really distract somebody off a single punch, single basic punch. Left hook to right high kick. That one is gonna work so well because you're distracting them from this side. And in addition, you're moving their head into the kick. When you hit them, assuming there's a little bit of power, there's gonna be a natural shift. As they get shifted, then all of a sudden the kick is coming up on this side. And even if they get their arm up, it's still gonna feel like you landed to a certain extent. Their head will come one direction, then move back the other direction, even through the glove. So the left hook to the high kick is great. Ooh, didn't get my leg back there. But you don't have to always just go left hook to high kick. You could go cross to hook to high kick, or cross hook into a high kick. But finishing on the hook is the important part. I feel like that is one of the easiest beginner ways to go from one punch to the high kick. And the transition between the body and the hips works so well. I load up, I unwind. That is number one. Number two, getting a little bit fancier, is coming off the backhand, right down the middle. And what we're trying to do here is we're trying to blind the person so they don't see this kick coming. The problem with the last one is there's that time and that easy space down the center for them to see, oh, something's coming from the side, but I can still see them. Now something's coming from the side, I can still see that. When I come from here and the hand ends up in their face, especially if I don't do a full rechamber and a pause, if I go one and then I come right into my high kick, very often they're distracted. They're blocking or they're going to their shell, which leaves this side open. So I come from here, 1, 2, and that arm stays out just into the last second. I don't want to pull it back, but I also don't want to leave it out there where it's going to be in the way. 1, 2. That one works so well. And I think if you can actually get that down on the bag and feel balanced, you'll have great success with it. Now let's talk about a trick which you can do. And that's eyes. The eyes can tell lies. So if I'm here and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna throw a high kick and I'm looking at their eyes, I'm looking at their head, there's no reason for them to think for a second that I might be going anywhere else. They're gonna think, oh, head's the attack area. Assuming, of course, that they are even watching the eyes. I never watch the eyes. Don't care. It's not gonna tell me anything I need to know. But if you can fake people out and go, and specifically make them see head movement and maybe a drop of the gaze, they will very often go, oh, body attack is coming. So I can come from up here, look down, and then kick high. And if you have somebody who sees that and falls for it, they'll see the round kick, they'll come down just a little bit, exposing the upper portion of their head. And then from there, you can land. That's a great way. It's a great way to land. In addition, number 4 for landing high kicks, we can come off the lead leg. If I just do this, and I throw my left round kick, it's not too different than me throwing the right one, right? It's come off the back, and it's even a little slower because I have to do the switch before I get to this foot in the back is the kicking leg. But if you can get good at this, the lead leg just floats up and touches people, that one comes out of nowhere. Especially if you can do it at the end of some sort of combo. Maybe you come jab, cross, body hook, and then you fade back on your high kick. They don't think that a kick is coming off that side. They don't think it's gonna come that fast. And that height transition is great. 1, 2, 3, 4, boom. That's a lovely way to land it. We just saw somebody recently in 1FC do that. I can't remember who it was, but I was going, wow, that's beautiful. And I love that I can pass it on to you guys. The final way that I want to talk about landing a high kick is to really fake the person out, make them think something else is coming. So you could come off a front kick, throw it repeated times, really start to get them thinking that every time you're going to throw this leg, they're going to get punished to the body. And then what you can do is a rapid transition, where just instead of coming to there, you come up to there, and it could be done straight as a round kick, or you could actually switch it midair. That is a harder way to do it, but so much easier to actually land. Make people scared about this leg in one particular way, and then switch it up and go high. There are 5 ways to land that high kick without having to just go, oh, I'm just gonna throw it and hope it lands. Now, if you take everything I said today, you execute them, strength, flexibility, practice my technique, practice these ideas of ways to open up the head, be creative when throwing your high kick, and you come back to this video, I don't know, maybe once a week, once every couple weeks, for a month or 2, and just really drill in the ideas, lock them in there, I do feel like you will have so much success with the high kick. So I hope this was very helpful. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, guys, train hard. I will see you back here soon for another video.